You ever see a courtroom freeze so cold you could hear your own pulse in your ears? That's what happened the day old Walter Freeman. Yes, the same Walter who walks with a limp, hand always brushing the Purple Heart on his jacket, stood tall in front of Judge Barrett, who snapped, "Remove it or face contempt." But Walter, he didn't flinch. He just looked that man dead in the eye and whispered, "I died for this medal 20 years before you put on that robe." And right there, that's where everything changed, even if no one knew it yet. Let me back up a sec, because you gotta see how a soft-spoken army vet like Walter became a lightning rod for the whole city, maybe even the whole country. Walter never wanted to make a scene. He's not that guy. On a chilly fall morning in Birmingham, Alabama, he's just a 62-year-old black vet, 32 years of army under his belt, aching leg from Desert Storm, trying to do his civic duty. Could have called in and ducked jury duty, but that wasn't him. You know what I mean? Some part of him still believed in the system. So he pressed his dress blues, shined up the medals, especially that Purple Heart, which was more scar than jewelry, and walked into that courthouse with all the respect he could muster. Funny thing, how folks look at you when you show up in uniform. Some step aside, nod, thank you for your service. Others act like you're some kind of prop. Walter was used to both. In the jury room, though, things started to smell off. Black folks, they were getting grilled harder, getting dismissed for little things, like wearing a hoodie or speaking up. Walter clocked it all. Old habits from the army. Watching the room. Bailiff comes over, this big guy with a smirk, tells Walter to take off his costume. Calls it a Halloween outfit. Walter doesn't even blink. "Sir, these are my medals from 32 years in the army." Bailiff shrugs. "Sure, Grandpa, but lose the costume before Judge Barrett sees you." Walter just rolls forward. He's got a job to do. Inside, Judge Barrett's court feels like the kind of place where the air itself stands at attention. Barrett's got a rep, hard, strict, and, let's be real, not a friend to people who look like Walter. Walter feels Barrett's eyes burning a hole right through him. The case? A young black kid, barely 20, supposedly lifted something from a fancy shop. The prosecutor's out for blood, all because the kid got in trouble once as a teen. Walter's not new to this. His own son, same story years back. During jury selection, Walter keeps it by the book. "I swore an oath to uphold justice for all Americans," he tells them. That oath didn't expire when I hung up my uniform. He makes the cut, one of only 2 black jurors. At recess, Walter hears Barrett in the hall, complaining about these people on juries, making sure the right kind of people get picked. That rage, he's felt it before, so many times, boils up, but he just tightens his grip on the cane. That night, Walter goes home, sits under pictures of his wife Evelyn, gone now, cancer, his kids, his buddies from Desert Storm. He hangs up his jacket with care, fingers tracing that Purple Heart. He wonders, not for the first time, if all this standing up is worth the pain, physical and otherwise. Day 2, Barrett calls Walter to chambers. Tells him, "Lose the medals." Walter stands tall, parade rest, voice calm as ever. "With respect, Your Honor, I wear these not for show, but for what they represent." Barrett doesn't budge. "My courtroom. My rules. No medals tomorrow, or you're out." Walter asks if Barrett ever served. "Irrelevant," Barrett says. "I got a deferment during Vietnam. My father said my talents would be wasted." There's a Rolex on his wrist, golf trophies on the shelf. The message is clear. Next day, Walter tells his grandson Marcus, now a law student, what's going down. Marcus is furious. He can't do this. Walter just sips his tea, thinking of Evelyn's advice. "Stand your ground, Walter." That night, phone rings. Tanya, his daughter, worries. Barrett's got connections, she says, and he plays rough. Old friends from the VFW call. "Don't you dare take those medals off, Freeman." Next day, Walter wears the Purple Heart and walks back into the storm. Courtroom's packed now. Word gets around. Angela Chun, a reporter, sits near the back, eyes sharp. Barrett tries again. "Mr. Freeman, remove that medal or I'll find you in contempt." Walter squares his shoulders, says quietly, I cannot and will not dishonor this sacrifice. Barrett slams the gavel, finds him, boots him from the jury. As Walter leaves, something wild happens. First an old white man, then a woman, then a young guy. Half the courtroom stands up in silent support. Barrett's livid, but Walter just walks out, cane tapping, back straight. Angela catches him in the hall, gets his story. Her article goes up that afternoon. Headline: Judge orders veteran to dishonor his sacrifice. The internet explodes. Veterans groups rally. Paper purple hearts flood the courthouse. Barrett's office gets hammered with calls. Local news cameras swarm Walter's modest house. Walter doesn't talk bad about Barrett, just says, this is about respect for sacrifice. Nothing more. Barrett doubles down, jacks up the fine, threatens jail. Marcus and Tanya push back. Complaints, lawyers, the whole nine. But then it gets ugly. Walter's pension is reviewed, credit cut off, daughter passed over for a promotion, Marcus's scholarship questioned, mailbox tampered with, even threats from the local PD. Just keeping an eye on you, Mr. Freeman. One night, someone paints racial slurs on Walter's front door. Neighbors, black, white, young, old, show up with paint remover, scrubbing the hate away in the dark. That's the moment, I think, when Walter knew he couldn't back down. He files a complaint against Barrett. Meanwhile, Angela Chun finds the dirt. Barrett's been cherry-picking jurors, ruling for his country club friends, kicking out black families for developers, the works. The city starts buzzing. Veterans from everywhere start mailing their own medals to Walter. Marcus gets law students nationwide digging up similar cases. A Supreme Court justice even weighs in, says Barrett's order was out of bounds. The kid at the heart of all this, Jamal Williams, finally gets a new judge who tosses the case after seeing the flimsy evidence. The pressure builds. Barrett files a massive lawsuit for defamation. His allies ramp up police harassment. IRS audits Walter's lawyers, and the media tries to flip the script. Is Walter a pawn in a bigger political game? Even Angela Chen's paper gets threats, advertisers trying to pull out. But then Chun lands the knockout punch, publishes an expose, emails, audio, proof Barrett was picking jurors by race, bragging about it, calling Walter one of them who needs to learn his place. Suddenly, Barrett's allies scatter, federal investigators swoop in, the governor and the state's attorney general backpedal. Barrett tries to cover his tracks, shreds documents, but his own clerk turns whistleblower. He's suspended, then resigns before he can be removed, his reputation in ruins. Congressional hearings start, and Walter, in a wheelchair with oxygen, sits before the country and says, justice shouldn't depend on who you are, what you look like, or whether you've worn a uniform. The fallout's bigger than anyone expected. Barrett's cases are reviewed, hundreds of them. The Freeman Respect Act passes, guaranteeing the right to wear military decorations in court and setting new accountability standards. Walter starts a fund to help other vets. Marcus leads it. Angela wins a Pulitzer, and Tanya finally gets the promotion she earned out a year after that first showdown. Walter stands in the White House as the president signs the act into law. Barrett, now broke and disgraced, watches from a dingy apartment. Jamal, once a kid facing prison, stands next to Walter, helping other young men navigate the system. Walter gets a letter from Barrett, a real apology, and they meet, private, no cameras. Closure, not revenge. Final shot? Walter, at Evelyn's grave, purple heart on his chest, tells her, we made it a little better. Somewhere, a young black woman pins her own purple heart on and walks into court, head high, the road a little smoother because Walter refused to bow. Dignity can't be commanded away, not by a judge, not by a system.so. Tell me, what would you have done? Have you ever had to pick between standing your ground and doing what's easy? Drop your story in the comments. Have you seen someone show quiet courage? Let's talk about what justice really looks like, because in the end, justice doesn't defend itself. Sometimes all it takes is one person standing up, refusing to be moved when the world tells them to sit down.